Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Thursday, October 23rd. I'm Mark Dent here with Noelle Medina, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. So here in the United States, Costco pulls in revenues of roughly $200 billion a year. But its most surprising feat might be succeeding in Japan, where it has gained a foothold while retailers like Walmart and Tesco have flopped. We're going to get into Costco's unlikely Japanese success story and the latest news in business and tech right after this.
Being a know-it-all used to be considered a bad thing, but in business, it's everything. Because right now, most businesses only use 20% of their data, unless you have Hubspot, where data that's buried in emails, call logs, and meeting notes become insights that help you grow your business. Because when you know more, you grow more. See, being a know-it-all isn't so bad after all. Visit HubSpot.com today to learn more.
Okay, we're going to start off today with the recession indicator. I know, not fun. But according to CNN, the share of subprime borrowers for car payments who are at least 60 days late on their loans has reached an alarmingly high rate of 6.7%. That's double the share of borrowers who were at least 60 days late in 2021, and it's higher than what America saw during the Great Recession and the dot-com bust of the late 90s and early aughts. Not great. That's a bad case of numbers going up. Here's maybe a more fun case of numbers going up, I suppose. Up until the last few weeks, Beyond Meat's stock had been a failure. At one point a few years ago, it traded for above $150 a share, but it was, basically a penny stock earlier this year. And then this week happened, and Beyond Meat has become the ultimate meme stock, rising 600% in 3 days. At the end of the day on Tuesday, it was selling for about $3.62, and then it went all the way up to above $7 early on Wednesday morning. As of midday Wednesday, when we recorded this, Beyond Meat had fallen back to $4 a share. But my gosh, this is like just a wild ride.
Right. I know. I think it was like the next big thing for so long and so promising. And here we are.
Yeah.
Everyone, I think, is just really burnt out on alternative protein, even though, the product itself is not bad. I think we're both fans of it to a degree.
Totally.
But also carnivores. So
yeah, and I've probably said this before on this show, but I think that's why Beyond Meat hasn't worked, is for carnivores like us who are like willing to try something new.
Yeah.
But like people who are like vegan or vegetarian are
Right.
like, they have their own stuff that they like to eat. So they're like, we don't need Beyond Meat.
They're like sticking to the portobello mushroom burgers, which are also delicious.
Yeah, I know. Exactly.
Yeah.
But, Beyond Meat was going to change the world. And, maybe instead it just ended up as like the greatest meme stock of all time. So I guess that's still a pretty good accomplishment.
Pretty good outcome. Yeah.
Another really quick thing about sell-offs. Last week, we talked about gold hitting a record high. Well, now gold has seen a near record drop. Spot gold fell 6.3% on Monday, which was the steepest fall in more than a decade. Now, on to some automotive news. GM announced a feature coming to its electric Cadillac Escalade SUV in 2028 that's pretty darn cool. It's going to let the car drive while you check your emails or watch TV. So yes, a self-driving car feature in a Cadillac Escalade. And GM CEO Mary Barra says that there will soon be a future where your car runs your errands for you. I mean, we just let go of the wheel, I guess, the whole time.
Wow. Yeah. I know. Who knew that GM is kind of at the forefront of the self-driving
kind of revolution?
Yeah, the revolution. Thank you. I'm at a loss for words. Yeah. I do know that GM has been, working on this technology, I think, for a while. And some critics out there say that it rivals Tesla's. So
yeah, they've really kind of quietly done something here. I think jumped to the front, at least when we think of this feature.
Yeah, they really do need to add some more EVs to their portfolio. I think they're really doubling down on EVs to kind of bring themselves into the 21st century as a brand that, was the it brand of like the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Yeah. Totally. It was like the 20th century. This was what you aimed for, was a Cadillac, right?
Yeah.
Like that was status.
They're coming back.
All right, and finally, we're going to end this one here with a win for the humans. The loungewear company Aerie has announced that it will not use AI in its ads And as a result of this announcement, it had a really viral Instagram post with 40,000 plus likes as of Wednesday morning. Aerie is going to feature, quote, real people only, end quote, with no retouching. And yeah, no AI in its ads. So,
all right. Not sponsored, but I am wearing actually an Aerie article of clothing today.
Oh,
so.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
Hey, it's Anna Sale, host of Death, Sex, and Money, the show from Slate about the things we think about a lot and need to talk about more. Many of us have something going on behind closed doors, like a listener we called Elizabeth, who told us she's a hoarder.
I see mess beyond probably what most people think of when they think of mess.
We'll work through it all together on Death, Sex, and Money. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
We'll move on to the main story here, but first a reminder that you can subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. And our main story, as I mentioned in the intro, is about Costco in Japan. Noelle, you've been looking into this unlikely success story.
Yeah.
Because we just think of Costco here. It's like that giant warehouse of a store that sells stuff in bulk.
Mm-hmm.
And Japan is like all about doing things small, just generally speaking.
Right.
So what's happening? When did Costco go over there and what was its strategy to try and fit into Japan?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I want to shout out Chung Fan, who is the founder of the Sat Post newsletter.
And a former Hustle employee, for that matter.
Exactly. Yeah. So we pulled a lot from the research that he did. I also interviewed him. But yeah, Costco started to eye the Japanese market in the 90s. It was fresh off of establishing itself in two other key Asian markets, Taiwan and South Korea. Now, both of those countries also have really high population densities.
Right.
But Japan came with a few other hurdles at the time. They were facing a spiraling financial crisis. And they also had this interesting large retail store law where basically if large retailers, specifically like foreign retailers, wanted to come in and start a store, they had to essentially like gain permission from the surrounding mom and pop shops. The other thing too about Japan and its retail economy is that it has this like insane web of middlemen. And that's Costco's whole thing, right? Is cutting out the middleman so that they can go directly to suppliers and manufacturers, get the goods they need, and then stock them directly on Costco shelves and pass on those wholesale savings to their customers. So yeah, Costco was really in sort of an uphill battle when it first landed in Japan in the 90s.
All right. So like you said, mom and pop shops are a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Middlemen are a pretty big deal in Japan. Costco is neither of those things.
Yeah.
But it seems like one thing that they did, though, was that they partnered with a developer, right?
Yeah.
How did that kind of help set them on the sort of right path to gaining acceptance in Japan?
Oh, that was so key. So yeah, this land developer called Torius in the 90s had this plan to build the first American-style mall in Japan and actually somehow convinced the Japanese government to give them rice fields where they could build the mall. And they put the very first Costco in that mall. And the LA Times at the time said that among customers, Costco was the main event. It was the main attraction at this mall. And I don't think if Costco hadn't partnered with Torius, I don't know if it would have been able to establish itself, you know, back in the 90s, again, with so many things kind of working against it at the time.
And that's just because it was able to get into that good location with that partnership and able to just sort of be like, hey, we're legit and gaining some trust, I guess.
Right. I mean, just to get the land, like that was huge for them. You need a lot of acreage to build a Costco. So they scored big time.
And so Costco went into Japan. Right now, I think it has almost 40 locations.
Yeah.
And it found some success, fairly quickly there in the 90s. And Walmart and Tesco, they did see that Costco was having some success and they tried to go into Japan. One thing that I found really interesting is that you just think about Walmart and Costco. The retailers who both kind of sell things at lower prices, right? People go there and then they enjoy inexpensive things.
Yeah.
But Walmart, they're like, we're all about low prices.
Yeah.
Whereas Costco's just like, we have good stuff and you're not going to have to pay an arm and a leg. And it seems like that sort of motto fit way better for Japanese culture by not just like focusing purely on inexpensive. It was like, this is good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Walmart took a completely different approach to Costco. They entered the market in the early 2000s on the heels of, Costco's success and grand opening. And they decided to acquire a local chain of grocery stores and almost like disguise themselves in a way as these, they're called Seiyu stores. They essentially became mini like Japanese Walmarts. And they operated in the same way that Walmart operates here in the US. And yeah, that model just completely backfired. And the draw there of like everyday low prices, right? Which Walmart is known for here in America. We love that about our Walmarts here in the US, that we get like the lowest prices.
Yeah. We brag about cheap things.
Yeah, exactly. And for the Japanese consumer, like they saw that as low quality. Whereas Costco is more about sort of like creating value. Like you said, you're not going to pay an arm and a leg, but you get things and items in bulk quantities. And so they're better at, I think, kind of creating that value.
Yeah, that message resonated a little bit better, it sounds like, in Japan.
It did.
But the thing that I found most interesting is how people in Japan have really embraced Costco's whole model of selling things in bulk. Even though people don't have like huge apartments there or huge houses, not like we have here in the US, there's not a whole lot of room.
Yeah.
And yet it's still been successful because it sounds like there's this really interesting way where a lot of Japanese people will like split things with friends or, do different things like that. Mm-hmm. How have they kind of made Costco sort of their own?
Yeah. I mean, it is amazing when you look at images of these micro apartments in Tokyo. Like they are closets,
Sure.
They're what we consider to be like closets. But it's so interesting that Japanese consumers living in those like smaller dwelling spaces really love this bulk buying experience. And there's a lot of share shopping that happens at these Costco's in Japan. So even though Costco has cracked down on its membership sharing, a lot of people still go to the stores together. Trung told me that it's like a day for us going to Disneyland. It's the same thing for them where like they take friends. Yeah, they split a lot of what they buy. And even Costco now starts to sort of package things almost as like a 2-in-1 so that it's like very easy to split the goods at the end of the day. And of course, they offer the Kirkland brand goods. They got the hot dog.
Oh, perfect.
People love to like hang out and eat just like we do here in the US. There's nothing else in the world like Costco. And the Japanese understand that and they love that.
Yeah, for sure. I love the idea of just bringing friends along to Costco.
Yeah.
Like you said, they're cracking down on sharing membership cards. And I know that's happening here in the US. So it's like, hey, just bring your friend along and make it a more fun trip to the store.
Yeah.
I think that's a good lesson for all of us. That's going to do it for us today. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of Hubspot Media. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clarke. We have a lot more tech and business coverage in our newsletter, so if you're not subscribed, please go get signed up at thehustle.co/email, and also follow us on Instagram at The Hustle Daily, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Hey everybody, I've been listening to this great show lately. It's called The Next Wave, Your Chief AI Officer, hosted by Matt Wolf and Nathan Lands, and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. So you can catch The Next Wave with Matt Wolf and Nathan Lands, leading AI creators who are your guiding light in the AI and technology frontier. AI technology is transforming super fast, and it's changing every day, and the way we do business and the media landscape is all fragmented, but The Next Wave strives to be the leading podcast on AI technology and how you can actually apply it into growing your business. You can check them out wherever you get your podcasts.